Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Boom. This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, plop down on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and watch all your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm your goopy pile of DNA, desperately searching for the barrel my life mate is crammed into, Joseph.
And I'm a 90s hacker with a carefree attitude and lots of zany one-liners. My name's Chris.
And today, for the third episode of 2022's OCTOONBER celebration, we watched Godzilla, the series. Was that your Godzilla impression?
That's my Godzilla roar.
Oh.
Nailed it, didn't I?
It was like if Godzilla was on his deathbed, maybe. Like that's his final cry, his death wails.
And shrunk down so many sizes. And someone like pinched his toe.
Yeah.
While he's dying.
Right. That's about.
Oh God.
Yeah. Great interpretation for that.
Yeah. This was suggested to us by 3 listeners, Christopher V, David B, and Mitchell B. So thank you, all of you.
Thanks to the V's and the B's.
All those V's and B's.
Man, so I'm going to say, okay, I'm not going to reveal how I feel about the show yet, but the intro, that was one of the most boring intros.
I know.
And I think a big part of it was the song was so somber and like low that I didn't even know it was like intro at first. I was like, what is happening? Where did these birds come from? And so like every time it would transition from like the scene to the intro, it would be like just a quick cut over to this like silence. And it's like, what is happening? So I just feel like there should have been a lot more excitement to this intro.
It was the most lackluster intro for a cartoon ever made. Because you're right. It's kind of just dead silence with like a growing just like bit of noise that takes forever to get there. And you're just kind of seeing some like visions of like, you know, scenes of New York with some stuff going on until there's like, you know, Godzilla is present and other stuff goes on. But like, yeah, I was just like you. The first time I watched it, I thought this was just a normal cut to another scene. So I got really confused considering that what we had just saw at the beginning of episode 1 was Godzilla's death, followed by, you know, Godzilla just stomping around town. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Huh?
How? Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
Right. Yeah. So leading into it, it's like in that way, and maybe it's only that way, the 1978 series is superior as far as the intro goes. Because at least then we've got the Godzilla, like we've got a powerful intro.
Should have done that.
Yeah. Just bring that song back.
Yeah. They could have done like the 90s attitude rock and roll version of that song.
Yeah, give me a Godzilla.
Like Godzilla! You know.
Right. I'd accept a Godzilla rap at this point. Just anything, just to fill that dead silence.
Yeah, like a beam, 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 beam. Godzilla. You know, that would have been better.
Exactly. Yeah. Even though I don't like that usually, anything's better than just silence. Like I get that they were trying to like build anticipation with like that growing discomfort, but it wasn't effective the way that they thought it would be.
This is my big question for you though.
Yeah.
That I want to know before we get into there. Your thoughts on the 1998 movie, because this is a direct tie-in to the movie.
Okay, so the 1998 movie is bad. I think pretty much anyone can agree on that.
Are you sure?
I don't know anybody who likes that movie, so I will just go right out and say that, yeah, this is not, it's based on a bad movie, but that doesn't mean the show is bad. And I want that to really come across because yes, it's a direct follow-up. Yes, it picks up right where the movie left off, like literally. But they did it in such a way where it really cuts pretty much all ties to the movie. I mean, it has characters from it, but they act differently. And there are various reasons for that. And I'll say them in a minute. But whether you like the movie or not, which you probably don't judge the show based on that.
Yeah, I will go ahead on the record and say that the 1998 American Godzilla film has been in my top 5 worst movies I've ever seen list since I've seen it.
Okay, good.
And it has not budged from that list.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that, having it on your worst movies list at all.
Yeah. Yep.
So this show, Godzilla the series, aired from 98 to 2001. So it came out like right when the movie did, or it was probably being produced while the movie was.
I think so.
This is based on, obviously, Godzilla by Toho, but more specifically, Roland Emmerich's infamous 98 American Godzilla film starring Matthew Broderick. That's a lot of fish or whatever he says.
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah. Developed by Jeff Klein and Richard Reynes. Produced by Landmark Entertainment Group and Graz Entertainment, Inc. Ran for 2 seasons, 40 episodes. Produced by Global Entertainment Productions, GmbH and Co. Median KG. That is the longest production name.
That sounds great.
From 98 to 99 for season 1. Adelaide Productions for season 1 and 2. Centropolis Television, Toho Company, and Columbia TriStar Television. So a lot of production companies behind this. Ran for 2 seasons, 40 episodes, originally on Fox Kids USA and DirecTV in Japan.
I do think I remember seeing a couple episodes on Fox Kids, to be honest.
I don't think I ever saw this show. Like, part of me doesn't even think that I knew it existed. Maybe I'm just blocking it out of my mind because of the bad movie. Maybe I just avoided it for those reasons. I'm not sure, but I don't remember the show existing.
I think I caught that. Well, I don't know that I actually watched it. I think I caught that it existed and was on, and I avoided it because I was like, well, the movie was so bad. Why would I watch this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm not going to waste my time.
For a short synopsis of this, in this direct sequel to the 98 Godzilla movie, Dr. Nico Tatopoulos leads a team known as H.E.A.T to battle giant monsters with the help of Godzilla's only living offspring. That's really the kicker, where I was surprised, and I guess we both were, because it's like Godzilla dies right away. So how is this? Does he just like resurrect or something? And then you see it's like, oh, in the movie, there are all those eggs, but they're supposedly destroyed. However, there was one survivor, and this is basically Godzilla Jr. or Zilla Jr. if you want to stick to the common, or what the American Godzilla is commonly known as, Zilla, and not the original one.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. So like in I think it's Destroy All Monsters. I can't remember, or All Out Monster. I can't remember which Godzilla movie it is, but one of the 2000s Godzilla movies has this version in it, the American Godzilla, and Japanese Godzilla destroys him immediately. So it's like they know, Godzilla knows, or Japan
That's
knows.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Who are some of the actors who played in the show?
Well, he is Nico Tatopoulos, but they refer to him as Nick throughout this entire thing. They only call him Nico the one time.
Yeah.
And then he's Nick. He's Nick from then on out, because I think, like you said, they were trying to sever ties with the movie quite a bit. So, yeah, they never called him Nico again. Yeah,
I kept getting confused.
Yeah, it is. It's super confusing, man. It's super confusing. So Dr. Nick Tatopoulos was voiced by Ian Ziering, who is the voice of Vinny from Biker Mice from Mars and Wildwing from Mighty Ducks. And he also stars as Finn Shepard in all of the Sharknado movies.
Oh, that's cool.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Mendel Craven was voiced by Malcolm Denari, who is reprising his role from the live action film. So he played the same character in both the film and voices him here.
Interesting.
I don't know why. Yeah. I think he's the only one that reprised his role. Aside from, there might be a few minor characters that come and go. Other than that, I think that's it.
Okay.
The voice of Randy Hernandez was Reno Romano, who was also the voice of Eduardo from Extreme Ghostbusters, which I know was one of your favorite Ghostbusters cartoons. He was also the voice of Peter Parker from Spider-Man Unlimited and Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, in The Batman from 2014, which I think is one of the only Batman series that we have not reviewed yet. So
I think so.
Maybe we'll get there. Dr. Elsie Chapman was voiced by Charity James, who was also the voice of Kelly from Bobby's World. If you remember Bobby's World, I can't believe we haven't done that one yet. That seems like a mistake.
I remember Bobby's World.
I think about that cartoon way more often than I feel like the average person should.
The theme song definitely goes through my head a lot.
Yeah. I just think about the whole opening sequence.
Yes,
all the
where
time.
He's riding around on a little tricycle thing.
Yeah. And it's just like kind of in like liminal space with random things kind of moving around, but then he's also going through his kitchen. And,
Yeah, you know what I think it was is the camera angle of that. I know it's animated, but like the way that they had it really low and it was kind of like warped looking, like that was really memorable. Okay.
With his like little bug creature doll trailing behind him.
Yep.
I don't know why that sticks in my head so much, but it really does. Character of Monique Dupree was voiced by Bridget Bacco, who was the voice of Angela from Gargoyles and Gargoyles the Goliath Chronicles. And finally, Nigel, which is their little robot helper, was voiced by Tom Kenny, who we've talked about so many times in the show. I won't get into all the stuff. Most notably, he's SpongeBob SquarePants, among tons of other things. So that's your main cast.
Nice. And for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Godzilla the Series cereal, one of the main reasons why the series is so different from the movie it spun off from is that almost all the production crew were big fans of the original Japanese Godzilla films. And since the American movie's details, exact details were kept secret down to the capabilities of Godzilla himself, the cartoon staff had no choice but to base their work on the Japanese movies. So this was definitely being produced the same time as the movie was. So even though it's a follow-up, it's like they just got really loose details about the movie that they were following up on.
Interesting.
And so Godzilla Jr. or Zilla Jr. is more anthropomorphic and has the iconic atomic breath weapon, and he stands more upright and does battle with other monsters. So multiple things about the movie itself, the 1998 movie, is that Godzilla breathes fire. But originally, he just breathed like air, but audiences hated it. I guess like test audiences hated that. So they like overlaid fire onto it. But that's why nobody reacts to him breathing fire. No one's like, oh, my God, he's breathing fire or anything.
Right.
Because he's not in the original cut. So.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be anyway. He should be breathing atomic, radioactive breath, but he's not doing that either. So luckily, they retain that in this cartoon.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Even though, most Godzilla fans are not fond of the 1998 movie, as we're discussing, many do consider this series to be very good and much more worthy to bear the title Godzilla. So, yes, I want you to remember that because when we're done with this, you might agree.
Yeah.
Despite being popular among young boys, the show couldn't complete its second season run due to the infamous Digimon/Pokemon war, where both Fox and Warner Brothers were licensing various collection/game type animes such as Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and others. So this show got lost in the scrimmage. So basically, because of that battle, like this show was just kind of left by the wayside.
So Godzilla was one of the big casualties in the Pokemon Digimon wars of the 90s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember those wars. I served.
I survived them.
I served on the Pokemon battlefronts. I was there.
War never changes. Pokemon do.
And so did Digimon.
That's true. The 3-part miniseries Monster Wars was a direct homage to the Godzilla film Destroy All Monsters. We didn't see any of that little miniseries in here, but
we did not.
That's one I want to go back to for sure. That's it.
Oh, all right then. Yeah. It's well, let's just start.
Yeah, let's just jump into the episodes we watched for today's show. First one being New Family Part 1, Season 1, Episode 1, where Nico, or Nick, is worried that one of Godzilla's eggs might have survived the events of the 1988 Godzilla movie. When Godzilla's offspring hatches, indeed, from a single surviving egg, God, this is written so weird, Nico and his science team known as H.E.A.T must stop it.
I don't remember them ever referring to themselves as H.E.A.T.
You know what? I don't remember that either. It wasn't until I started writing these notes and I saw H.E.A.T over and over again. I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I got to say that.
Well, I saw that a lot too when we were looking up which episodes we were going to watch, and they kept referring to H.E.A.T, but they never said the word H.E.A.T ever in any of the episodes we saw. And I'm not talking about just among themselves, but like they interact with the U.S. military a lot, and the military is not always happy with them. The military never refers to them as H.E.A.T either. So I'm like, who's calling them H.E.A.T?
Yeah, I didn't realize they were like a team, like official like that. I thought they were just like friends hanging out and doing their own thing.
Yeah, friends hanging out doing science stuff.
Yeah, as friends do, right?
Yeah, I know. I was I was completely lost the first few minutes of this show. How did you feel?
It's been so long since I've seen that movie that I didn't remember it ending like this. So it's like, I didn't know what was going on. I had to check and make sure I wasn't watching part 2 of this first episode, because I was like, wait, what am I missing? And then it was like, oh, okay, this is actually how it's starting off, with them, Godzilla literally chasing them down, and he eventually gets taken out by, Nico Tatopoulos or whoever. Like, Godzilla falls, he's dead. I, at this point, don't think he's dead. I just like, oh, I guess they knocked him out. What are they going to do with him? How are they going to make this series happen? That's when the whole egg thing comes in.
Yeah.
The army disagrees with him, but Nick is like, I want to check everywhere and make sure there's no more eggs left over, because if so, like, we saw the damage that he did to the city. We don't want to repeat that. So Nick kind of he goes on the hunt for it with his small team, and he gets separated down this like sewer pipe thing. And that's when he encounters the last egg that hatches in front of him and then imprints on him, because he had gotten some kind of like fluid on him that the baby was familiar with. So it thought it was his mom, basically. So it licked him and imprinted itself on him. And so now, much like the Godzilla cartoon, the other one, like, Godzilla's a friend here because it's basically Nick's baby.
Why don't they call him like Friendzilla in the ones where he's a good guy,
I don't know if it has the same ring to it. Friendzilla? Maybe Budzilla?
I think it'd be funny. Hey, Budzilla. Yeah, I like the idea. Yeah, so, but Nick accidentally also like electrocutes him, which sends him running away, like roaring and all scared. So he's like, oops. But and Nick also does not realize that this new baby Godzilla has imprinted on him. He gets out and he's just like, hey, yeah, I found a baby. We totally missed it. Hey, military, you're goofing up. Military is like, nah, no, we're not. We got this now. You stay out of it. So, Nick's kind of like, well, that doesn't instill a whole lot of confidence in me. We're going to track this independently, him and his buddies, which include Dr. Mendel Craven, Dr. Elsie Chapman, and then, his wisecracking hacker buddy, Randy Hernandez.
Yeah, it's his assistant, I think, or something, unofficially. I don't know.
I guess. All I know is he is so obnoxious, Joseph. I really dislike this character so much.
Well, this guy was like the epitome of throwing in a character to be 90s cool. And that's what he was with, like all the time. Everybody else is being reasonable and having reasonable discussions, and he just throws in a wisecrack most of the time at the expense of Mendel. He was so mean to Mendel.
Yeah, constantly. Like, always jokes about Mendel being like ugly or fat or just something really superficial and terrible. And it's just like, oh my God, like this guy's the worst. Like, I almost want to revive my worst characters list of old that I haven't even looked at that for like 100 episodes. This dude's probably going to go on the list. He's awful.
Yeah. His really defining quality is that he is a master hacker, and he can hack into pretty much anything. That's what he's good for. But then they tack that like cool guy, like, I don't know, jokey attitude on him, and that really makes him unlikable.
Because it's the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's what they do with every hacker. I mean, think about think from the 90s, man. Every hacker, any 90s thing, is like the wisecracking, sarcastic recluse. Always. And they can hack anything. Like, it could be like the most secure thing ever created, and they're going to be like, oh, that's easy. And they just like, touch their keyboard like 5 times and they've already hacked it. And I'm like, God, I hate the 90s sometimes.
It's basically the whole hold my beer mentality is like, he can do anything. He just needs a minute.
Right.
But he's also like buff too. It's like, man, they really packed everything. Tried to make him like the strong guy, the cool guy, and the hacker. It's like, in doing so, they tried to make him too good. Give something to Mendel. Come on.
Yeah, leave something for the rest of us. All right. Oh
So
boy.
yeah, he was bad. Yeah, on the side, as a side story that doesn't really get resolved to where we saw, since this is a part 1 of 2 episode, there's some kind of like tar octopus or squid or something out there, like in
Squidopus?
Jamaica. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tar.
I like that.
Yeah. And so like that's a side thing that's happening where the military thinks that's the Godzilla baby they're searching after. So they start heading that direction, while Zilla presents himself again, or Zilla Jr. presents himself again to Nick and crew. And that's when they realize that he actually like picks him up and looks like he's about to eat Nick. And then he licks him. It's like, oh, yep. I mean, he imprinted on you, so now you're buddies, and you can't kill him, and you can't chase him away or whatever. So what are you going to do? And so now the challenge is finding out for the rest of the episode how to hide him from, I guess, Nick's reporter girlfriend or journalist girlfriend.
Yeah,
I don't know if that
Audrey.
relationship lasts. Yeah. And
I don't think it does because she's only in 11 episodes.
Okay.
Out of the, like,
they must
40.
have broken up somewhere.
And Audrey, voiced by Paget Brewster, if anybody is wondering, from Criminal Minds, you know.
Okay.
And Drunk History. She's in a couple really good episodes of Drunk History.
Right
She's
on.
very funny. She's a funny, very funny lady.
And so a lot of it for the rest of this episode that we saw was just trying to hide him from the reporter, the military, etc. Audrey does end up stumbling across him, and after she sneaks into their lab space after hours and finds Zilla, that's when the army comes and is attacking. And at the end of the episode, you get like the missiles being shot at Zilla Jr. and the big explosion happening. So it's like, oh, is he gone? To be continued. And
yeah,
that's where it ends because he died right there.
Hey, do you think he's gone?
Well, since it's part 1 of the very first episode, I'm pretty sure no, but can't wait to find out.
One thing that did surprise me, though, is like when the military was like firing at him, they did show blood on our Zilla friend.
Yeah, he was bleeding. Actual red blood.
Yeah, which is very, I don't know. You don't see that in kids' cartoons almost ever.
This had really like a lot more of a mature kind of edge to it than I expected it to.
Especially going into this next episode, man.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you know what this reminded me of? And tell me if you agree. This came out the year after both Extreme Ghostbusters and the Men in Black cartoon. Doesn't it remind you of kind of a blend of all that?
Yeah, well, this has the same art. I think the same artists as Men in Black.
It looks very similar for sure.
Like, well, I know for a fact that some of the same artists did work on it for sure.
Okay, nice.
For Men in Black.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, I don't know about Extreme Ghostbusters. Men in Black for sure. In fact, at the end of one of the episodes we watched, there was in memory of, and then there was a name. That person was one of the artists who did work on both shows.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is how I found out.
I like that art style. So it's like, okay, that I'm glad they had that in this one too. And with the Extreme Ghostbusters, I guess it's more the idea of like how they open with some like dramatic scene and it cuts to the intro. That's what I remember most about Extreme Ghostbusters, is how it would always open with this really creepy setup and then cut right to the intro. But Extreme Ghostbusters had a way better intro than this one, going back to that.
Can I tell you the one thing about cartoons from this era that I really hate, though?
What?
Which is that whenever they animate a lightning strike, they just use a solarized filter on the colors.
Yeah.
Oh God, it looks bad every time.
Solarized never looks good. I don't know why
it should never have been invented.
That. No,
it
was a mistake.
As somebody that like, I'm not saying this to be like a braggart or something. Like I literally an extremely advanced professional with Photoshop. I will never use that filter ever. There's no point. So
it's an abomination, and mankind should not have gotten a hold of it.
It is pointless.
So the second episode we watched for today's show was Juggernaut, season 1, episode 20. Patreon picked by Semantics.
All right.
In this one, an alien device called Technosentient. Was it called that? God, whoever wrote these, must be Kenneth Chisholm again, arrives on Earth and melds with human technology, including the internet, with only one goal: to locate the Earth's nuclear silos and activate the weapons held inside. This episode started really like kind of innocently and then really escalated.
Yeah, it did. What's interesting, though, is like the design of this creature was really gross from the get-go. It's like a half skull, half like, I don't know, rotted meat face creature with robo tentacles.
Yeah, like like just a pound of like melted flesh on with some cyborg parts inside of it. But it fell as just like a little meteorite thing. So this kid who's playing with a little RV car goes over to it. It like gets like it melds with his RV car and drives off. That's why I was like, oh, this is gonna be a cute little episode, but it just picks up from there.
I did think it was funny that the first thing it did was hijack this kid's remote control car.
Yeah,
that cracked me up.
As a side story here, Leslie, it's her like lakeside high school reunion meetup. This is like a very, very side story that doesn't have much meaning to it, except that it gives a little bit of agency to something potentially going on between Mendel and Leslie, but we'll touch on that when we get there.
What, you mean Elsie?
Oh, is it Elsie? Oh, it is Elsie. Yeah. I wrote Elsie too. I just was saying Leslie. Okay.
You're weird.
Yeah, Elsie is what I meant. And the alien, the next thing he merges with is this hot dog cart, which is also funny. So it's like it's ramping up where it's like, oh, this is going to be a comical episode that then just like really escalates. He is just merging with everything he comes across. And, you know, you're not coming in expecting it to be anything really terrible and kind of just wondering how's Godzilla going to come into play here was my thought. Mendel creates an EMP cannon that basically would, I guess, deactivate him or departicleize him or whatever he was saying. And Elsie gets this dress randomly delivered to her. She doesn't want to go to her high school reunion.
Who does?
But she gets this like fancy dress delivered to her by an anonymous, person. And all the while they are trying to find out, like trying to seek this monster out and trying to dismantle it with that EMP ray.
Did you ever go to any high school reunions?
Oh, I would never.
See? Yeah.
I have no interest.
I don't either.
I kind of like, I question anyone who would, unless like you are still like really good friends with people you went to high school with, which is also rare. I can't imagine why anyone would ever do that.
I wouldn't go. I mean, I also never got invited, but I still wouldn't go if I was. I wouldn't go.
Yeah, you can't uninvite me. I don't ever want to be invited.
I uninvite myself. His EMP cannon that he fires at the thing, it don't work. The thing blocked the EMP.
Yeah, it like deflects it back at them and ruins Elsie's car.
Yeah. So then the thing, Mendel gets in the truck, tries to drive away. It absorbs the truck with him inside of it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just like, oh, well, he's dead. That's all right.
Yeah. While he's inside of it, he's telling him about this, like that it has linked up with this satellite dish that has access to the internet. And this is like, 1998 internet. So who knows where we were then. And
it was dialing up like, yeah.
And so it's got this like this code that he keeps seeing flashing, like this 33, 21, 44, 25, and he's not sure what it is or what it's trying to access at this time. Godzilla or Zilla Jr. does come in and try to help, but he gets thrown into some power lines and passes out. So he's not much help initially. Because this thing is like gigantic at this point. It is merged with like all this construction equipment, like a crane and a giant like tractor or something. So it is just getting bigger and bigger. And you don't know what its limit's going to be or really what its motivation is or what it plans to do at this point until it starts heading towards, like it merges with part of a train and then starts heading towards this military base, Fort McKenzie. And it is trying to, which is a home of a nuclear silo. So it's like, oh crap, like this thing is trying to merge with this like nuke and destroy, I don't know, the world. But they find out that it's trying to bomb Baghdad so it can start World War III, basically.
What were those numbers again? Can you repeat those?
33, 21, 44, 25.
See, I don't know if they got it right. Well, maybe they did. I was looking up the coordinates for Baghdad.
Yeah. So is that right?
So I do see 33 north, 44 east would be correct.
Okay. And I don't know what order these are in, but
yeah, maybe it is right. I don't know.
Good job.
I don't know how to do coordinates. So yeah, so they were gonna do, what was that song? Bombs over Baghdad.
Yeah, essentially, basically bringing it to real life.
He was gonna do that. That's the monster's plan, because that's the first song he heard.
Yeah, when he merged with the radio or something.
Yeah, and so like he absorbs not really the nuke, but he absorbs the launch tower, so that I guess he can kind of control it without
launching himself.
Yeah, without getting launched to the when the nuke launches itself, so that he can ensure it launches and he's not a part of it. And that is important for a minute, and they do call that out. And I was just kind of like, okay, weird, until I figure out why. They get Randy inside of this place and they're trying to get Randy to hack it. And haha, joke's on you, Mr. I can hack anything. He can't hack it. They do make one attempt at one part to hack the creature itself, which I was kind of like trying to figure out the logic of this. Mindell is inside of the creature. You know, he can move around, all that stuff. He calls Randy and Nick on his cell phone, then has the creature absorb the cell phone. And I guess Randy's like, I can use that signal to hack the creature's brain. And I'm like, I don't know how that tracks.
I'm no hacker, but
right. Like you'd have to understand the quote unquote operating system of this brain to be able to hack a brain. But you know, that's just me. Anyway, I'm getting critical about a children's show right now. But that is what we do.
You doubted their coordinates too, and those were correct. So maybe they're right in all regards.
I'm not 100% sure the coordinates were totally correct. I only verified 2 numbers, not all 4.
That's
only
all
2 were verified. So anyway, the others managed to blow a hole in the creature, and I think how they did this was cool. They got this thing close enough to it while setting like a timed bomb, and they got this piece of machinery so close to the creature of course is going to be like, yeah, I'll take that, absorbs it into himself. The bomb goes off, blows a hole through him. They go in, grab Mindell, get him out of there.
Well, yes and no. Like what happens is they're on like a forklift or a golf cart or something that has the bomb on it. They drive it literally into the creature and he absorbs it. So they're in there with Mindell and they plant the bomb while they're inside.
No, true. Yeah. Get him out of there. And so everyone's free and clear. Godzilla starts fighting this thing. Earlier, Godzilla knocked himself out, which was fun.
On the power lines,
his nose got stuck on a power line and he knocked himself out. So, I mean, you know,
Nobody's
happen,
perfect.
I guess. No, I know all about accidentally knocking yourself out. So I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge my big lizard man. But he ends up getting the monster tangled up in and attached to the nuke itself. So they're not able, because Randy is a complete failure and sucks at everything. He can't stop the nuke from going off. So when the nuke launches, the creature is launched with it. However, I'll give it to him. He does think to change the trajectory. So instead of it going to Baghdad, it just goes straight up into outer space and it blows in space, assumingly destroying the monster. I guess we don't really know, but we'll assume that the monster exploded.
Yeah. And then that's where we also get the wrap up of the secret admirer of Elsie's when it's revealed to be Mindell, because like a receipt falls out of his pocket or something. It's like, why would you have that receipt on you still? But anyway, she ends up, okay, this is a part where it's like Randy is just so critical of freaking Mindell, because like
oh my God, yes.
Elsie ends up like asking Mindell to just basically like come to my high school reunion with me. There's still a few hours. I'm not going to waste this dress or whatever. Like, let's just go.
Be my date.
And then like when they're out of earshot, I guess, Randy's just like, oh, how would Mindell get a date? He's very shook by this, to the point where he's like, we should have just let the world blow up. Like Mindell getting a date. Yeah.
He did
surprised
say
him
that.
that much.
He would rather like destroy the world than let Mendel
Be
get
happy.
a date.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how toxic this character is. He would rather end the entire world than let this one man have a moment of happiness.
A moment of joy. Yeah.
Yeah. He sucks. He's the worst character.
Yeah, that was very surprising to me. After he said that, I was like, wow, this really made me. I mean, I already didn't like the character, but now I'm just like, oh my God, like he is just completely again. What did Mendel ever do to him? He just doesn't like him for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just terrible.
He is. So the last episode we watched for today's show was Trust No One, season 1, episode 21, Patreon picked by an ex-gamer. So thank you.
Yeah.
H.E.A.T must stop Mimic, a creature that can mask itself as anyone it touches. It was created in a secret genetic experimental conducted. God, oh my God, all these words.
You're right.
I don't like the way this is written. It was created in a secret genetic experiment conducted by the French in the Amazon jungle and has only one goal in mind: to reproduce and take over.
There you go. Did this give you some The Thing vibes?
Absolutely, especially during some of those transformations. And one of them like was even like transforming to and from kind of like a dog form that very much resembled the Thing. So I feel like there was heavy inspiration from that.
Yeah. I thought this was interesting too, in that there was some like super body horror in this episode. Like, again, super surprising for a kid's cartoon.
Yeah, this episode is probably my favorite because there was a lot of actual like suspense where it wasn't so obvious where I even knew who the perpetrator was sometimes, or like that there even was one. So I'm like, is anybody the Thing in this case, or the Mimic? So yeah, this was a cool episode, and it surprisingly had probably the least amount of Godzilla in it, which you would think for a show about Godzilla would be a weakness, but it actually didn't hurt this episode. It might have strengthened it.
I was going to say one thing, Godzilla, aside from that first episode, and I guess he wasn't in it that much, Godzilla wasn't in a whole lot of the last episode we just talked about either.
That's true, since he got knocked out.
Yeah, he's way more in this one we're about to talk about, but I mean, that's not saying a lot. Godzilla's not super present in the show Godzilla.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense, but yeah, I don't know. It's a whole thing. So this treasure hunter is working his way through the Amazon jungle, just looking for riches, finds this abandoned cabin, has all kinds of like experiments and stuff in it. For some reason, he decides, I'm going to dump this dangerous chemical onto the ground to see if I can find treasure in there, because that seems safe. And he's like, nah, there's nothing in here. This sucks. And this blue liquid has spilled all over, but it ends up being that mimic creature we were talking about that immediately mimics his Rottweiler dog and attacks him. And that's where it cuts over to the credits. That's why it's like got that cool kind of suspenseful opening. And this man is presumably dead. You never hear from him again. They don't specifically say it, but we don't see him again.
I also wonder why the mimic never used his form for any reason. I don't know.
Yeah, because he could, since he touched it technically, since he attacked. So who knows?
Yeah.
The only time we get to see Godzilla really for a while is where they're feeding him at the beginning. They're trying to feed him this seaweed-based fish substitute so they can like not make the fisherman unhappy, since he eats probably a ton of fish every day.
Yeah. And
he ends up just spitting it up. Not a fan of this seaweed substitute.
That was pretty funny. He just like barfs it. Yeah. Oh, that was good. They're on this boat, and so I feel like we haven't talked a lot about a couple characters. I mean, we talked about, Nick, we've talked about Randy, we've talked about Mendel, we've talked a little bit about Elsie, who is another, she's another scientist, and she's probably the most skeptical one of the group and a little bit more of an attitude. But then there's also Monique, who is a French woman who I think is supposed to be more of like their, I don't know what you would call it, more of like their guide, their muscle.
Yeah, she's like a secret agent. So she's a trained agent of some sort. I don't know how they come across her. I know that she has connections with the character from the movie what was his name? Philippe?
Philippe.
Or, yeah.
Yes.
Played by Jean Reno in that movie. But because we see him in this episode and they have they have a conversation where he's talking, he basically explains to her everything that's going on with that treasure hunter finding this lab. So maybe he does live and that's how he reported. I don't know. There's a disconnect between like what happened to this treasure hunter. Maybe he just got like mauled. So he's basically saying that like this was a French geneticist. And since they're both French, they're like, okay, like this guy's work cannot survive. We need to just find what's been left over and destroy it.
Yeah. And this is said like somehow he got onto their boat.
Yeah.
Waited till they were like way out at sea. And then like when she walked down some steps, he came out of the shadows and he's like, Monique, and then tells her everything, and then steps back into the shadows. And it's like, then they immediately go to that place. And I'm like, did he get off the boat? Is he, where did he go? Is he still there? And he's just going to wait there until they've completed their mission. And then he's just going to step back out and be like, good job. Magnifique.
Yeah, he hides in lockers until he's needed.
You have done well. I just love that idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, they immediately go find this lab. It wasn't hard to find, I guess. But they're looking there. They find some of the leftover blue goo that spilled out, and they're kind of testing it and everything. Turns out that it's like basically like pure DNA that they find in there. And basically what Elsie is kind of saying is like anything that is like injected with this stuff, like it's going to be able to essentially turn into like whatever it wants. If it gets a sample of like other DNA, it would become a perfect mimic of whatever it wants to be.
Literally a blank slate of DNA.
Yeah. And then Nick in his infinite wisdom is just like, perfect, a mimic. Everyone split up.
Yeah.
Because that's how we should deal with a mimic. That's
nothing
great.
Could possibly go wrong.
No, nothing could go wrong. And immediately, all goes wrong.
We get Randy taking a stab at Mendel again, because Mendel is just like, what kind of twisted mind would intentionally make such a bizarre life form? And Randy's just like, let's ask your parents. And the doctor had created this DNA just basically out of nothing. We get to see, as Monique has kind of like walked off, I don't remember what she went to get, but she went back to the ship.
She's getting something for Elsie at the ship.
Yeah. And so this the dog that we saw earlier, the Rottweiler, attacks her and then transforms into a giant cobra, like an anaconda, I guess. And Nico luckily is around and just chases it off since it's literally constricting her. Then, since it has now come in contact with Monique, it can change into her. So we see fake Monique come into the lab, and she's not like, she can't like speak really well yet or converse really well. So she just comes in and kind of awkwardly asks the people who are left in the lab to tell her everything that they've learned, because it turns out as she's flirting with Randy, there is a second barrel of the same genetic DNA, and they've kind of lost the location of it, or the files have been wiped or something, or corrupted, so they can't find it. And the plan of this initial DNA mimic is to find its mate or the other matching pair so that they can reproduce and essentially take over the world by replacing everyone with mimics. Yeah. Which is kind of a terrifying thought.
And as it went in and flirted with Randy, and then it kind of walked by and it flirted with Mendel for a second, it basically touched everybody in the room. Mm-hmm. So now it can change into pretty much anyone.
Trust no one.
Trust no one. There it is. But one thing that they figure out, I think it was Elsie figured out, is that mimics, because of metabolism, all that stuff, their body heat would be higher than a normal human's. So the way that they could do to tell them apart is to use like a digital thermometer and basically scan their body temperature, where everyone else would be like 98.6. This thing would be like 103 at least. So at one point, everybody seemingly is back in the lab and kind of in a panic and explaining things. And Elsie, this is, after some time has passed, Elsie grabs the digital thermometer after Nick's like, hey, we need to scan everybody. She goes around, scans everyone. Everyone's good. And then she's just like, okay, well, let's, let me change subject real quick. Nick's like, You didn't scan yourself. Yeah. So then they scan her and the thing starts going crazy. And then she turns into a panther.
Yeah, that's a really cool scene, though, where after she scanned and it reveals at 103 degrees, it pauses for a second, and then her face just melts down. It's like, oh, that was really cool.
Pretty nasty looking.
Yeah.
I'd say every time the mimic changes, you just see whatever it is just like melt like into this gooey slush of like blue, fleshy grossness. And then it morphs into anything else.
Imagine the middle section of an Animorph book. It's that kind of transformation. It's all warped and gross.
I did think it was funny. Like, it just made me laugh when she did turn into the panther. Nick, at first, so it gets to its blue goo stage, and he doesn't say anything until it becomes the panther, and then he's like, "Ugh!" like a panther, gross.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he's totally fine with the
blue goo,
the gooiness, but a panther, drawing the line.
And then I think it turns into a monkey after that to escape out of the ceiling. Yeah.
And this is where I got a little confused and had to take a little leap of faith and think about it for a bit. But it gets away. Eventually, they get to the boat where they see that the mimic has taken on Mendel's form and is reprogramming their robot buddy Nigel. And I was just like, how would the mimic be able to even do that? Like, because I'm like, it wouldn't, for that to work, it would have to not only absorb like, the DNA, it would also have to have access to everybody's memories and stuff too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, that was a little confusing. And another part, which I understand, but I kind of wish they would have approached it differently. Clothes aren't DNA. And yet this thing could perfectly mimic clothing too. Clothes. Yeah. So that was kind of a weird part, but I'm like, I guess it can't all be nude. It's a cartoon. So I don't know what they should have done, but it's like, I feel like they could have found some way to kind of mask that. But no, it just kind of perfectly mimicked clothes like Morph from X-Men or Mystique even.
I guess Randy couldn't handle a naked Mendel everywhere.
No, that would have drove him insane.
But the thing ends up finding the other mimic, opens it up.
Yeah.
Gang's too late.
Yeah. Instead of reproducing, though, or forming more, they just merged together into one giant one.
A giant mimic. Yeah. That didn't make any sense to me. That was not at all.
Like, that wasn't the plan.
No. And that's where I was just like, did they forget what they were going to do with the story? Or did somebody come in later and be like, nah, we can't have these mimics banging one out.
Yeah. Or maybe just like, we need Godzilla to come back. How are we going to make this thing giant?
Yeah, I think they were just like, crap,
mimics?
We forgot to put Godzilla in this one. Crap. Okay, let's combine them, make something big so Godzilla can fight. Because for real though, we didn't even know Godzilla came with them, because this is like a totally different country they're in, right?
Right. Yeah.
We didn't even know Godzilla even came with them, because we have not heard hide nor hair of our lizard friend. And once this thing turns into a huge piranha to, I guess, eat our friends, Godzilla just shoots up out of nowhere to fight it. And I'm like, where's he been?
Yeah. He's just on the ready. He's just waiting. And then, like, it kind of goes through these different forms. This is a pretty cool monster battle, because he's a giant piranha, turns into like a giant wasp. And then the giant cobra again. Yeah. And so then, which is a little predictable, because what's going to happen. Like they go underwater for a minute, and then Godzilla comes up, but then another Godzilla comes up, and it's like, oh no, which one's the real Godzilla? Another confusing part is like, so only Nick knows, since he spends so much time with Zilla Jr., like only he would know the difference, but he didn't say how he knew the difference. He was just like, it looked like he kind of randomly picked one. It's like, I got a 50-50 chance. This one. Because he has to shoot this nitric acid or something at it in this like kind of harpoon thing. And he does. But if he would have shot his own Godzilla, it would have just completely destroyed him or like basically dematerialized him. So the risk was high. And I feel like he just randomly chose because he doesn't really say another word after that of like how he picked the right one or how he knew.
Because the pressure was on, man. Like he was sweating bullets. It's just everybody was like, you've got this. We know you know. And he's just like, oh crap, I have no idea. But everyone's counting on me. So oh man. So yeah, he just went for it.
He could have just been like, hey, Godzilla, what's my favorite color? And then if it had answered, be like, Godzilla doesn't know that. Yeah.
That's how he answers.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, he picks the right one, obviously, and it's dematerializing, but that's not the end of it because then it starts warping into kind of different forms, which is kind of cool as it melts down. Then it turns into a giant two-headed Elsie, which is it was really scary looking.
But like half melted. Yeah, it was super gross, but awesome.
And Godzilla tackles it. This was a pretty cool part because Godzilla tackled it and then just obliterated it with his atomic breath, like as it was pinned down. So completely like wiped it out. And the end was just kind of Elsie asking do I really look like that creature? And this time Mindel jumped in and was like, no, you're just much smaller. So Mindel was a jerk this time. That was totally a part for Randy to jump in though, because he's the resident jerk. So I don't know. Mindel had his own chance.
Then there's the stinger where Godzilla is blue for a split second and then winks at the camera. And you're like, oh, he's the mimic. Like Nick screwed up. No, that didn't happen.
That happens? Okay. I was like, did I miss something?
No, I just thought it'd be kind of funny. Like, what if Nick actually did kill Godzilla?
Right, and it's just been the mimic the rest of the show. Yeah.
Oh, how screwed up would that be?
Dang, that'd be a much different show.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated the boldness of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we sent our kids to hang out with Zilla Jr., Nico, Leslie, Monique, and Randy. Not Mindel, though. He's not invited. Then see what they thought of the show, Godzilla, the series.
This cartoon was, well, it had some cool, gross monsters and stuff, but why are there so many humans talking about science stuff? I just want to see Godzilla punch a big moth or pterodactyl. I mean, come on.
Even though this isn't nearly as cool as the original Godzilla films, I did enjoy it more than the old cartoon, mainly because there was no Godzuki in sight. Plus, we did get to see some pretty cool and kind of scary monsters, especially that two-headed Elsie creature. Ugh. That's a visual I'll definitely be unpacking in therapy later in life.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I think that was probably the scariest. Out of all the monsters we saw the whole time, I think the two-headed Elsie was probably the worst of them.
Yeah, and it wasn't there for very long. It was just like a few seconds, but it definitely made a lasting impression. And it was like the thumbnail of the episode too on like IMDb, I think. So
oh man,
it was definitely like, I guess, eye-catching enough. They were like, yeah, we should probably use that.
You know what I think would have been cooler in that part is if they had made it like a combination of different characters, like it had multiple heads and they were all the characters it had touched. Like that would have been interesting.
It should have done like half Randy, half Mindel, just to take Randy off.
Yeah.
So what are some of the stuff that you liked about the show?
I appreciated there was a direct follow-up to the terrible movie that preceded it, especially with the new different Godzilla. Imprinting on Nico or Nick made it much more plausible as to why Godzilla was friendly to humans, opening it up for a much more interesting Monster of the Week type series. And the Monsters of the Week we saw were all pretty cool. Plus the stakes were surprisingly high. Like the techno-organic creature trying to start World War III by nuking Baghdad, or the mimic trying to repopulate Earth by replicating itself. So they went much further than destroying cities or trying to take out Godzilla. at least in the episodes we saw. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that too. I just like in general that they went a way different direction with this than what you would expect after following up from the film. I mean, it doesn't compare at all. And I guess part of that does have to do with the idea that when they were making the show, they had no idea what the film was going to be like.
Yeah.
Since they were so siloed, they just had to kind of take guesses and do their own thing. But the fact that they did take other directions with it, I think was pretty cool. And yeah, bringing in lots of brand new monsters and types of monsters and, larger stakes, basically, like you said. That was pretty cool. Also, the art style is very distinct. We talked about that a little bit already, but I think it looks really good. Same style like we talked about as Men in Black, very similar to Extreme Ghostbusters. It's like a style that, you don't see often, but so when you do see it, it's like, I don't know, it's very, very eye-catching, I guess.
Yeah, very distinct.
Yeah, it has kind of like a little bit more of a grungy, like just grosser feel to it. So like when you're using this kind of style with like some sort of horror type property, I feel like it works really well.
Yeah, definitely much more effective this way. Yeah.
Yeah. In that way, too, another thing that I liked is it did have some really interesting horror elements in the show I didn't expect, especially in that Mimic episode with like lots of body horror like we talked about and just the really grotesque designs during the transformations. And the design of that techno monster, too, was pretty gross. Also, just how weird it looked that it was just like looked like a piece of flesh attached to some sort of animal skull with tentacles coming out. Like, I mean, that is like visualize that for those of you that haven't seen it. Like, that's pretty gross. Now, just be like, that was this in this kid's cartoon. It was wiggling around and like absorbing things and getting bigger. It's pretty crazy to think about. So just the idea that they brought so many things like that into the show, I think was pretty bold and just such an interesting approach, to be honest.
Yeah, I really feel like it had heavy inspiration from the direction that cartoons were going at the time. Like I said, with Extreme Ghostbusters and Men in Black especially, those are the two easiest comparisons for me because those are the shows I watched the most at that point. Since they came out in 97, this came out in 98, it just feels like a direct kind of transfer of the kind of mood or attitude that the shows had then.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. And I think that like Men in Black especially had a lot of that grotesqueness as well with a lot of the aliens and stuff that you saw. So yeah, I think there was definitely a lot there that translated, as far as the art goes, directly into this.
Mm-hmm.
As far as things you didn't like and some of your criticisms, what do you got?
I want to say that I wish there were more Godzilla present, but I'm kind of unsure on that because at this point in the show, like they're sort of using him as a last ditch effort surprise weapon. And I mean, maybe that was the right move, though, since not only does his infrequency make his appearances all the more meaningful, but they also don't use him as a crutch to make up for poor storytelling or writing. So like in the last episode we watched, I was so intrigued by the whole Mimic plot line that I didn't even notice we hadn't seen Godzilla for like 90% of the show or of the episode until he had to show up to save the day at the very end. Like, they were able to detach him from being the main focus of it. And because they made the characters interesting enough. So I know this is a criticism part, but it's like, yeah, maybe there should have been more Godzilla, but I feel like they handled the lack of him being there well. So it's like a half criticism, half like maybe they made the right choice.
Yeah, I think this is where like I don't know if I would call it a disagreement. I don't know. Like I feel like they should have used him more. This is my criticism of not just this, but a lot of Godzilla properties when they do cartoons like this is that they forget why the audience is there, which is to see Godzilla. But a lot of times he becomes more of a cameo and appearance in every episode, or the Deus Ex Machina of the, it's humans doing human things until the last minute and a half of the episode, until Godzilla comes up to blast the monster the humans couldn't stop using human ways. with his breath, and then the episode's over. And it's like, all well and good, but like sometimes when you get to that point, sometimes it doesn't feel like it's a Godzilla show anymore. And that's what I struggle with this, is that this cartoon, though I think there's some really good elements of it, the tie into having Godzilla itself seems really far removed. Like, this thing could have stood on its own without having the Godzilla tie-in, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And still would have been fine. Like the other episodes we watched, Godzilla was really nothing of consequence. He didn't really need to be there. There probably could have been some other solution or something they could have done with the writing. And like, he really is just brought in as a Deus Ex Machina. Like, it's, to me, it's not a Godzilla show. I'd be more interested in if they would have used him more often and like see him like really have to go to bat for some stuff, but we didn't really see that.
Yeah, and maybe that's where some of those, like that 3-parter, like Monster Wars or whatever it was called, like comes in. I don't know. So it's like, I'm not saying it's a bad show because it's lacking Godzilla, but I do feel like, to your point, that maybe it should have just not been a Godzilla show at all if they weren't going to really use him much. So I'm torn on that, because I don't think it's a bad show, but I also, I wanted to see more Godzilla, more monster fighting.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like that with a lot of Godzilla movies too. I mean,
yeah,
I'll say American Godzilla movies.
Well, even the most recent Japanese one, Shin Godzilla, like, it was very focused on politics and the human side of things. And that was, even though it's a great movie, it's like, that was something that I just wish there had been more Godzilla. Like, that's what I go for, like, to your point.
Yeah.
And so not seeing him, even though it's a great movie around it and showing the human reactions to it, it's like, I just need to see Godzilla fighting some other dudes. Like, that's why it's almost like watching a wrestling match or something. I just need to see some combat.
Sure. It's like, we've already had the movie where you don't see Godzilla except once in a while. Like, that's already happened. So we're at the point now where it's like, Godzilla is what your audience wants to see. So,
yeah,
use it.
Give me just a lot of all-out monster assault kind of movies or whatever, where it's every monster from Godzilla franchise just coming in for one reason or another. Doesn't have to be a lot of dialogue. They don't talk. You can cut to humans every once in a while, but don't make humans the primary focus.
Yeah, I was almost thinking of like, if, as an example, taking a cartoon that does not have hardly any dialogue or dialogue at all, like Primal, and how good that is.
Oh, yeah.
And now think about like a cartoon of like, Godzilla going across, landscapes. And they could be short episode cartoons, and like, Godzilla squaring off against like a new monster and different things, or new threats, or militaries and stuff like that. And you don't need all of this like dialogue and all these crazy things. It's just more focused on the animation and the expression in like the choreography of everything, and the body movement, and like his face and his screams and all that stuff. I think that would be really interesting stuff. Some of the Godzilla comics are like that, and I think those are fantastic.
I was just about to say, yeah, like that, like Godzilla in Hell. Like, I think there's almost zero dialogue. There might be zero dialogue in that entirely. And it's really a great comic. Exactly.
Yeah. To get back onto the show here, my other dislike is just some of the dialogue is just kind of like meh. But I mean, the most glaring is Randy. That guy's just awful. And here's my problem too, that even though I had a like of the show overall, most of the characters were either neutral to unlikable for me. Like, I don't have a single character that I'm like, oh man, yeah, I do really like this character, or I really resonate with this character. I don't. They were all super neutral, but Randy was just like, oh God, I hate this guy. I mean, if I gravitate towards any of them, it's more Mendel, but just out of pity. Yeah. And and that's not me trying to be like a joke, like making a joke about it. It's just because he got picked on the most that I feel kind of bad for the character. But I don't know. None of them warmed up to me at all.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you there. Like, I don't think all the characters were unlikable, but it was tough. They didn't really stand out to me much. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to feel about them, I guess. Maybe that's like a better way for me to put it.
Sure.
Because I get that Monique was like the cool, like mysterious agent one. I didn't know if Elsie was supposed to be unlikable or like the bossy one or what. Like, her personality was kind of all over the place and people were reacting to her differently. So I didn't really know, aside from the really outspoken one being Randy, who was very unlikable, how to feel.
Yeah, and Nick just felt pretty cookie cutter all the time. And he didn't express emotion almost ever, aside from when Godzilla was in danger, and that's pretty much it.
He's like, no, Godzilla! And that's it.
Yeah. His lack of emotion towards any of the other characters, though, made it really hard to get a feel for him. So, yeah, I don't know. It was really tough, to be honest, to really like some of these characters.
So how did you feel about the show overall?
I mean, overall, honestly, there's some really cool stuff in there. It's just not enough for me to want to go back and watch more of it. However, I can say without a doubt the show is 100 times better than the film ever was. And I did enjoy a lot of the creepy stuff, a lot of the monsters, a lot of the grotesqueness to it. And I'll stand by that. I think this show could have stood on its own without Godzilla. Like, I don't think it needed to be a Godzilla property. I think they had something, and that maybe if they had taken these ideas and divorced it away from the Godzilla property and been able to do more of what they wanted without shoehorning Godzilla in at the end of every episode or whatever, like maybe it would have had a longer lifespan doing its own thing. I don't know. I think it was interesting regardless of Godzilla being in it or not. But as far as Godzilla stuff, I'd rather see more Godzilla if he's gonna be in it. But with everything said, I gave this Godzilla 3 bowls of blue DNA jelly cereal out of 5.
In a year of shows that have really surprised me, here's another one to add to that list. I don't think I ever would have personally sought this show out, since I just associated it with the terrible movie it was based on. If I even knew about it, I honestly don't know. Fortunately, the characters were fine. They were fleshed out decently enough, aside from Randy. Godzilla Jr. was probably used just enough without overdoing it. That I'm still torn on. It brought the absolute best thing about the Godzilla franchise to the forefront, which the movie did not, which is him fighting other giant monsters. So I came in understandably skeptical, but was pretty happy to see how far this kaiju apple fell from its tree. So overall, I'd give Godzilla the series 4 big bowls of not fire, but atomic breath cereal out of 5. And I wish I'd actually given this one a chance when it first came out, since it would have fit right there with my other Saturday morning cartoon buffet, like Ghostbusters and MIB.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you, everybody, for suggesting this. Okay, I know it was a lot of V. There was a V and 2 Bs. Who was it again?
Christopher V, David B, and Mitchell B.
So thank you to all the V's and B's who recommended this to us. Really appreciate it. You know what? I am happy to add this to my list of things in the Godzilla franchise that I'm positive about. And this is actually a pretty good show. Much better than I expected it to be. I can say that for sure. It was definitely better than I expected. Absolutely better than I expected. And at least there, I can kind of say at least something good came out of the 1998 Godzilla movie. There you go.
Because without it, we probably wouldn't have gotten this.
Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, for the 4th episode of our OCTOONBER celebration, we'll be watching
Mad Balls, suggested via Instagram by NJ Horror.
Oh, man. I don't know that I knew it had a cartoon. I just knew of the toys.
Yeah. You ready for some Mad Balls?
I guess so. Apparently, like, they're getting back into the mainstream again because they have a crossover comic with Garbage Pail Kids.
Really? That's
yeah,
interesting.
IDW.
Okay. I think I saw that they've been making some like shorts and stuff on YouTube also.
Really?
Like some little animated shorts and stuff with some brand new designs that look pretty cool. But we will be watching the Madball stuff from yesteryear or whatever.
Yesteryear. Yeah.
The past.
I've never seen this cartoon, so I'm interested, nervous, but interested.
I think both of those, based from what I've seen, both of those are applicable.
All right. We'll find out. Well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
We'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.